Good afternoon, and you're very welcome to Fitzgerald Park in Kilmallock for the second of this afternoon's Lyons of Limerick Premier Intermediate Hurling Championship semi-finals. My own name is Tom Clancy, and I will be on the mic for this one alongside former Limerick captain James Ryan. It is a meeting between Blackrock and Effin for the right to contest for a place at senior level for 2026. Those two sides will hope to play Gary Spillane in 2 weeks' time, and this, of course, as I said, the second of our semi-finals. Throw-in is at 4 p.m. We'll take a look at the teams in just a moment. Do stay tuned.
Custom sportswear and workwear by Baru Sports in Ennis and Shannon. From clubs and schools to local businesses, we design quality gear that looks sharp and lasts. Baru Sports Ennis and Shannon, custom made for your team, your work, your game. Call us now on 061 364 750.
Okay, you're very welcome back to Kilmallock. The sides, well, Effin anyway, have at least re-emerged from the dressing room here ahead of this one. We'll take a look at the sides before I bring in my co-commentator James Ryan to mull over the what was in prospect here. Blackrock will start with the Effin team, and the Effin side lines out with the goalkeeper, who is Ryan O'Neill. Robert Cagney, Alan Byrne and Mark Mullins are the full back line. Aaron Moffat, Nicky Quaid and Sean Canning are the half back line. Killian O'Riordan and Fergal O'Connor are partnered at midfield. Patrick O'Donovan, their talisman, he wears 11 and he's flanked by Brian Clifford and Ewan Dillon. The inside line sees Pierce O'Kelly, Conor Kearney and Frankie Hare. The management is headed up by Adrian Barrett, while John Fitzgerald, Dennis O'Donovan, PJ O'Connor are part of the backroom team with Effin. We'll take a look at the Rockies, who are just coming out from the dressing room to our left hand side. They're wearing the change strip, which is slightly different for them. That is a yellow and blue hooped strip. The Blackrock team lines up with Dave Maloney in goal, Simon Hennessy, Richie McCarthy and Shane Lyons. The half back line is Marty Farrell, Ian O'Brien and Killian O'Hearn. At midfield is joint captain Jimmy Quilty, and he is partnered by Aidan Gilligan. Sean O'Neill, Callan Ensor and Kieran Considine are the half-forward line. The inside line sees the experienced Paddy Leahy, who is also the joint captain, and he's alongside Colm O'Keefe and Conor Gilligan. Okay, so James Ryan, the former Limerick captain, joins me for this one. James, we were just briefly mulling over that Gary Spillane are waiting in the wings there in the final. A 1 point win for them, so we now know that we'll have a South Limerick derby to decide who goes up to senior next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Just by the skin of our teeth, I can tell you, if anyone was watching the match, it wasn't one-way traffic by any means. I think Cork will be disappointed. They had plenty of chances, and look, it was anyone's game. And look, I suppose from a boys' point of view, thank God Gareth Spillane went through. But as you're on about the game just now, I'm just thinking about, as you're speaking there, about experience. Both teams have a lot of lads with like numerous years now of playing at this grade. Anyone that watches the Premier Intermediate or follows it, you'll know it's not as clear cut maybe as the senior, where you have senior A and B, and you even have your top four maybe the last couple of years in senior A, where they're probably the best. A Premier Intermediate coming first or coming fourth means absolutely nothing at all. So I do not think that Effin will be inside and just saying we top the group and we're playing fourth place. It doesn't work like that at all. And again, a lot of teams that have won this Premier Intermediate, they nearly finish third or fourth to kind of scrape out of the group, and it's kind of a psychological thing. So look, both teams know each other so well here. Tom, I don't think it actually makes a difference about the placing in the groups. I think matchup's going to be a major thing. I think the weather will play a big part, obviously. But look, both teams will know, and both teams have actually, a lot of their players have been in this position before. They'll both know that leadership is a big thing today, and like leadership might come in many ways. Not the best player on the field, it might be just communications. Like, for example, you might see Nicky Quaid there centre back today, and he mightn't hit much ball, but he'll be keeping the shape, keeping the structure. Even if we looked at the first game there, Croke and Gareth Spillane were under a bit of pressure there at times, and the full forward line came out. So look, it's about that, and obviously in the semi-final and the final of anything, you could say in group stage, well, but semi-finals are the day where you expect, or you're hoping that your best performers come and perform, and I think that's what this game is going to come down to.
Yeah, these sides, as Jim Bob mentioned, finishing actually first and fourth. It was Effin with 5 wins and a draw and a single defeat that managed to get their way to the top of the pile. But Blackrock finishing strong, and Jim Bob, it's interesting that they managed to lose more games than they won. Three wins and 4 defeats for them to finish fourth. But they finished well. They won their last 2 games, and as we're looking at the table here in front of us, you had ended up with 3 teams on 6 points. And I suppose they were boosted by, I think it was in the second last round, they had a huge win over Glenroe. That boosted their scoring difference, and it just shows you the value of every score as the championship goes on. That put them forward into the position of fourth, and here they are today.
Yeah, look, Blackrock over the last couple of years, obviously they got to the final against Drummold Lacca there a couple of years ago, and then they felt they were going to push on, and it never went their way. And the one thing I would say about them is conditions are starting to suit them. They would be an age team. I think that goes without saying. You have Dave Maloney inside in goal, Simon Hennessy, Richie McCarthy, Paddy Lee. There's none of them the right side of 35. They're all around my goal, I can tell you. But look, with the conditions, scraping through a group stage like that does show one thing. It shows great spirit. It shows a team that maybe mightn't be performing or getting the results, but they're willing to work for each other, and that's what you need for days like today.
Okay, we'll just have the Aran Levine playing here in Kilmallock. So there's the Aran Levine here in Kilmallock. James, we haven't mentioned the elements too much. Thankfully, the rain has held off. The wind certainly hasn't. It's blowing, from what I can see of the flag over on the clubhouse, blowing from our left-hand side over to that right corner where Blackrock are currently stationed, so it will certainly have a factor. We saw it in the earlier game as well. It had a huge bearing on how things proceeded, so that's something that we'll have to keep an eye on as this game goes on.
Yeah, I suppose the John and Mark there in the last game commentating had a big discussion on which is a bigger advantage and all that. It was interesting that Croke actually went against the wind, but you could see it in the first half that Dave Lynch there inside in goal, he kind of changed up the puck outs. If there was a half back free, he was hitting Tom, he was keeping Gareth Spillane half forward line honest, and then he went long, and they were obviously working under the break. So Croke seemed to have a good game plan. It seemed like they kind of were expecting a strong win to be there. So look, it's looking at the moment like which way?
It looks to me like the Effin goalkeeper has gone down to our right hand side. So Effin are playing against the breeze. So Blackrock will be aided by it in this first half, from what I can tell.
Yeah,
anyway.
So Effin are going to be playing against the wind. So look, you'd assume unless Effin do something drastic, the norm would be that the half back line, Nicky's going to keep him back there on that 2-point scoring D, and the midfield are going to sit deep and they're going to try and work the ball out as best they can. That would be the sensible option.
Okay, well, Kieran Gannat of Fiona Castlemahon is ready to go. He's just setting his watch, something that I'm doing here myself, and we are underway in this Lyons of Limerick Premier Intermediate Hurling Championship semi-final, and immediately onto the ball is Jimmy Quilty, and Quilty has the first go, and he has the first score, about 10 seconds on the clock, and Jimmy Quilty lays down the early marker.
Yeah, not so long ago I was talking about leadership, and whether it comes in the form of communicating to your players or action, and that is exactly how we want to start the game. Jimmy Quilty done an unbelievable touch there to win it, and went straight down the middle and tipped the ball over the bar and judged the win. That's exactly what you want.
Yeah, measure to perfection. The ball goes long. Underneath it is Fergal O'Connor, joined there by a couple of teammates of his, which includes Ewan Dillon, but it looks to be the Rockies who think they have a hand on it. Effin beaten at this stage at this very venue 12 months ago by eventual winners Newcastle West, so they'll have the bit between their teeth to get into the Gaelic Grounds in a fortnight's time for the final. And immediately we see the ruck ball. Thankfully the surface in Kilmallock here, as dry as could be expected, it is in very good condition. Of course, we're playing host to one of the senior semi-finals between Ballybrown and Doon tomorrow, as the referee throws the ball in, and big clatter of players around the middle, but it's a first opportunity for Effin. Killian O'Riordan carries it, but they've worked it out here. Here's Rory O'Shaughnessy, and they've worked it back, and they've lost it. There's a shot there. Is that going to go accurately over the bar? It is indeed. I just lost sight of it, Jim Bob. Who was it that...
Marty Farrell.
Marty Farrell making it 2 from 2, and a lovely start for the Rockies.
Yeah, and again, that's the exact start that Effin didn't want, that Blackrock obviously did want. But the one thing I would say about with a wind is when you get the momentum, we're always talking about this purple patch, you have to take it on. So, like, even Effin winning their first puck out there is massive, just to kill that momentum that Blackrock had going forward there.
Yeah, there's a shot coming in from Brian Clifford. Has he measured it to perfection? He hasn't. He has the distance against the stiffening breeze, but it doesn't go on target. There's one change I've just spotted in the Effin side. It looks like Rory O'Connor wearing 21 is in, who he's replaced. I will confirm momentarily, but we were told initially there was to be no changes from the 15 that both sides listed earlier in the week. Anyway, we're back underway, and it is pulled on there by Paddy Leahy. Racing onto it now is Ian O'Brien. O'Brien can't get it at the first attempt, thinks he has it at the second, but again, Sliotar escaping his clutches, and it's a white jersey of Effin who come up with it. It's carried up the wing. Here's the aforementioned Rory O'Connor, gets on it, can't gather. Good scramble defence by Blackrock, and here's the familiar sight of Richie McCarthy, and he sweeps it up across the pitch. But there's a man in cover there for Effin, that is Sean Canning, and Canning puts the brakes on, sends it up the wing this side. Ewan Dillon wins the race into his right hand. Under serious pressure is Dillon. He gives it back to Canning, and Canning puts it inside there. Richie McCarthy goes high, but the ball breaks nicely. Frankie Hare has it. Is it now with Pierce O'Kelly? There's a fight for possession. There's a foul there by O'Kelly, and a chance to clear their lines as there's a couple of men tangled up on the surface here. But we're seeing, I suppose, an extra player back maybe for.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it there. I don't know who the sweeper is for Blackrock at the moment. They look like they've brought Conor Gilligan out onto the half-forward line. So it looks like and Nicky seems to be playing deep as well. I don't know if the forwards just moving inside, but again, Richie would be disappointed with the ball they gave there. As I said, Effin's half-back line are obviously trying to protect their full-back line, which would make sense against the wind. Ball
spills all the way through, missed by a couple of defenders, but Ryan O'Neill is there to tidy it up for Effin. He comes out with he's lost it, and I think Blackrock sensing danger, but Effin do indeed tidy it up. They've worked it out to Cillian O'Riordan. O'Riordan puts it on his left and knocks it up there. Good fight for possession. Ewan Dillon. And Dillon is in a bit of a heap on the surface. Eventually the ball is hand passed. Every ball in this early stage is closely contested. Rory O'Connor racing away with it. O'Connor decides he's going to switch it inside. And out in front, it looks to be Frankie Hare. Indeed it is. Hare off the right-hand side, but really didn't capture it at all. And that is a second wide up at that end for Effin.
Yeah, but again, it was a good sign out of Rory O'Connor there, number 21, that after coming on there starting. He could have got very frustrated. He was wide open there. He wasn't seen, but of course, the semi-final, he was tuned in. He got on that ball and gave a great ball across to Frankie Hare, and Frankie Hare done well to come out. He'd be disappointed with the finish.
Yeah, you'll see there Dave Maloney's puck out bounced and once, and it ended up inside in the 20-metre line. That'll tell you a little bit about the strength of the breeze, but it's fought for there by Sean O'Neill, Limerick 20 in recent seasons, but they've lost it as Robert Cagney thought he had a hand on it. These ruck balls, as we saw in the earlier game, very, very important to the outcome of any game. And Kieran Ganal letting the play develop here. As eventually, one Nicky Quaid comes up with it. Quaid does well, and onto his favoured left side, knocks it up the field. Here's Hare, and he's already been on 2 or 3 possessions, so good start for him. He sends it inside to the number 10, who's playing closer to goal. That's Brian Clifford. Clifford has to do a fair bit of meandering together. Gives it back to Hare, and Hare is looking for the free. Doesn't come. There's 5-6 hooped jerseys in the colour of Blackrock there. They're putting so much pressure, but the ball worked back inside, and it just skims away from the midfielder. That's Cillian O'Riordan. O'Riordan cuts back onto his left, and he's knocked one over. Effin are on the board, and it was hard work, but it is a profitable work in the end, and 2 points to 1.
Yeah, and you'd say what you do against the wind, that is exactly what you do against the wind. It's all about decision making. Frankie Hare and Brian Clifford there doing really well to work 1-2s there, and a great ball in by Frankie Hare, it has to be said, by Cillian.
Huge take in the air by Kieran Considine above Nicky Quaid, turned his man, and the combination, I think, of Sean Canning and Nicky Quaid fouled him. Lovely left-handed catch there, and exactly what you want beneath your puck-outs.
Yeah, and look, you don't want to be advocating fouling or anything, but Nicky nearly made the right decision there, because if he didn't catch the hurley, he was gone, and it was definitely a goal-scoring opportunity. So I think he's even got away without a booking or a ticking. So look, it's a professional foul, but it's a good one. Yeah, especially the fact of playing against the wind, that you don't want to be picking up a yellow card too early.
Yeah, early piece of catching from Considine as Colm O'Keefe comes out and knocks over the free. So 3 points to 1.
But again, the one thing I would say in these conditions, I have to compliment the underfoot. I was coming in and I checked the ground, it's really good. The only element here is the wind. The ground is perfect, but any young fella listening here, the most important thing is to get that ball into the hand first time, and Blackrock are better at doing that at the moment. Yeah,
here come Effin. There's a foul there. There's a bit of a chop as Kieran Ganal just about 5 or 6 metres away, as you can see there, well placed to call it. So chance for Effin while they do trail. I'm sure they'll be taking their time here as Nicky Quaid lines it up inside his own, just outside his own 65.
Yeah, and I'm just weighing it up. He's an inter-county goalie. Obviously, he's got a great strike of the ball, but I don't know. He'll have to hit it very low trajectory if he does get it, but it'll be a hard one to have the range.
Yeah, he's certainly a great distributor of the ball. I think you can see there the ball really held up there, and it drops nicely in the front of the D, but back there covering is Cillian Ahern. He read the flight of it, and he gives it back to McCarthy, and he sweeps it up the field. Nicky Quaid looking to cover the space, And good full back play there by Alan Byrne out to catch it on the bounce. And he moves it nicely to O'Riordan. And O'Riordan with that heavily strapped hamstring knocks it back to Canning. Canning knocks it up the line again. Big fight for possession in both half lines, in the half-forward line of Effin on this occasion. They've found Pierce O'Kelly. O'Kelly puts plenty on the hand pass, although there was appeals for a throw. Ewan Dillon can't gather it, and the work rate plentiful from the Rockies so far as Fergal O'Connor gets his first possession of it. It's a shot coming in from Cillian O'Riordan. You can see again the breeze really holding that one up. So anything maybe outside the 45 is tempting fate in terms of even reaching goals, as the ball is swept up by Marty Farrell inside to the hand of Sean O'Neill. Takes him a couple of attempts to gather it. He just pops one across inside for the corner forward, but he can't gather it, and it's the men from Effin who will come out away with it. They're trying to play that low ball, not let the wind take away from it. Brian Clifford for them can't gather it, and instead in his place comes Ian O'Brien. Lovely switch to play. Here's Paddy Leahy, a super scorer when he gets on it. Leahy has a go. That's going to go very, very close. I think it has just tailed. In fact, it's just gone over, say, the umpires, and tucking it inside the post was the number 13, Paddy Leahy.
Yeah, look, I have often got him wrong, but that looked like a wide to me, but it's after being given, so that's a point. But I would say both teams, the most impressive thing about both teams at the moment is when they have the ball in hand, they are making the right decision. There might be much of an end product because it's just the basic skills like letting both teams down at the moment, but their decision making, both teams getting their head up like Pierce Kelly's doing right now.
Richie McCarthy reading it as good as ever. McCarthy bursting out, getting his free. And we've saw that time and time again. He gives a bit of a fist pump, trying to encourage his charges out there. You could nearly set your clock to a man like him.
Yeah, it was well read, read it like a book. Now, the one thing I would say from an Effin point of view is you do not want good strikers on the ball when the other team have the wind, and Marty Farrell is causing all kinds of problems. He got an unbelievable score here in front of us from play, and he's over on the wing spraying ball. He's after giving a great ball into Sean O'Neill, and he gave a great ball across the field here to Paul Leahy. So he's doing a lot of damage, and that's if you get a striker out in the open. So maybe Effin need to close him down.
So Jimmy Quilty hitting the free, but it goes to the left. I think that's the first wide registered by Blackrock. So they were 4 from 4 before that, but unable to add to their early advantages. The puck out from Ryan O'Neill goes very, very long. It does well in that breeze. There's a huge fight for possession under it. 3 Effin men there, but the Blackrock men come up with it, and they've swept it diagonally down here towards the number 14, and that's his Colm O'Keefe, but he's going to be beaten to it by Alan Byrne. Byrne gets his head up, but immediately once he gets his the ball in hand, gives it out to Cillian Ahern, and Ahern is adjudged to have thrown the ball overhand, and a free coming. Good pressure from the Blackrock forwards, not letting the clean possession, not letting an easy out, and forces the mistake.
It was great pressure. Sean Kenny was the man in the ball, and look, it's a very dubious one as well. Was there clear striking action between his hand and the ball? Yes, there was. There has to be underhand, and some people, you see it in the inter-county game, even they're given sometimes, but it even looked like clear throw. It doesn't look right. It has to be underhand. I think a bit of coaching needs to be done here, but as you said, Blackrock, great pressure. Now the one thing you would say is it's easier put the pressure on when you have the win, but at the moment they are working harder, and that's a massive score from a psychological point of view for Blackrock, and Effin are finding it hard to get the ball out through the lines from the backs.
Yeah, so number 14, that's Colm O'Keefe, knocks over his second free. He was testing an off angle, but didn't bother him, and he has made it a 4-point game. The puck out barely reaching halfway. Fergal O'Connor has to go a long ways backwards to get a bit of freedom to get his head up, and knocks it inside towards the number 15. That's Frankie Hare, and beaten to it though. And they work the ball out to Simon Hennessy with the hand pass, gives it back to Shane Lyons, and they working it neatly. Cillian Ahern was involved there, and ball worked across the middle, but lost as Mark Mullins, Paddy Leahy there for company. There's going to be a pull on the ball. There is a reckless enough pull, I think, as Sean Canning takes exception to it. I think he was looking for the ball, but goes in a little bit too high there, the Blackrock player. I think that was the case there.
Just a bit of a swipe. I see Nicky looking up because he didn't even get to the smaller D, the usual D that was there before the 2-point D last time, so he's trying to hit it quick. But again, look, Blackrock just working that bit harder. Effin find it very hard to get the ball up the field, and unbelievable catch as well by Marty Farrell over there a while ago. So Blackrock slightly on top again on the breaks and in the aerial battle at the moment.
So Nicky Quaid, he thought once, twice, 3 times about it, decides eventually to send it high, send it direct, and send it over the bar. Well, didn't need much by the way of, I suppose, a run into it, but maybe the breeze just dropped off momentarily, and Nicky takes full advantage.
Yeah, there's a famous saying, a Limerick supporter, just bang over the bar, no more about it, and that's exactly it. Nothing else to do, and he put it over there. So, yeah, he struck it really well in front of us.
Yeah, and important score for them after a bit of a lull up at the other end. Quaid again coming out with it. Great to see him back in action. I know we highlighted that in our very first stream of the season when he was playing in the opening round of this, but given the knee trouble he had less than 12 months ago, great to see him back out the field for his club. But Paddy Leahy breaks onto it here. Leahy, full length to the hurley. Has he matched it? Oh, brilliant stuff. Straight over the bar. Instinctive stuff. Didn't need to even look. And replies with a fantastic score.
Yeah, no, that was a serious score, and that's why Blackrock are so dangerous with the wind. You have the likes of Marty Farrell, Paddy Leahy. These are beautiful strikers of the ball. And again, the key thing to that whole thing, Portsmouth gets the ball into the hand in full stride, and it got him the space, the separation to get that strike. Unbelievable strike as well under pressure. Yeah,
brilliant take there by Conor Carney. He comes out and pulls it out of the sky, gets his foul, gets his reward, and Nicky Quaid dishing out a bit of praise for his full forward, and he'll take his time coming over here to this one.
Yeah, Effin are after kind of bringing Conor Carney out, I think, obviously because of the wind, and they're after moving Brian Clifford in kind of definitely into the full forward line. Now, Brian Clifford's a big scalp of a man as well, but again, that's the reason why they brought Conor Carney out, just to win a couple of puck outs to relieve the pressure, and it leaves Nicky here with another maybe chance to hit the ball into the full forward line.
Yeah, Quaid. You could see the breeze certainly at full strength as he hit that. It's just about gone inside the 20-metre line. Jimmy Quilty back there for Blackrock. Oh, lovely pick up. I thought he had it. Here's the corner forward again. Every ball hotly contested. Frankie Hare ends up on the floor. Picked up in the middle there as the ball finally comes to Conor Galligan. Blocked down in there. There's danger here for Effin as they've lost control of it. The ball is tried to be cleared, but Mark Mullins, I think it was, who ended up hooking Shane Lyons. Eventually clean possession with Effin, and the ball sent inside to the full forward. That's Conor Carney. He does well. They've worked it on to the number 21. That's Rory O'Connor, but O'Connor has to come away from goal. O'Connor does well though, shortens the grip, bit of a dummy, tries to dive in on it, does he end up sitting on it? He's up on all fours now. He's come away from it, and
yeah,
the man who replaced, I'm fairly sure, Patrick O'Donovan, which we probably haven't touched on. There's a big absentee there.
Yeah, there was a big talk about him having a hamstring issue, so it obviously didn't clear. But again, Rory O'Connor, there's in two minds. But a big reason for it was three Black Rock lads around him, which makes it very hard. So the very minute he makes a mistake in there,
freeze sent long. It's going to hold up in the grass here in Kilmallock, and doing well there to clear the lines are Effin, and they work to Killian O'Riordan. He sends it inside to Ewan Dillon. Dillon is a long way from number 12, it's fair to say, as this game goes on. He gives it across to Aaron Moffat. Moffat sweeps it up the middle, and meat and drink to a player like Richie McCarthy. He does well to give it out to Jimmy Quilty, but his clearance, or a pass indeed, is half blocked. Working hard now up at the other end. There's a careless pull in there by Conor Carney, but not making it as easy for Blackrock to clear the lines and get good distribution. But in the end, they commit the foul.
Yeah, look, I think Effin will be reasonably happy. I think both teams actually be reasonably happy, because obviously Blackrock are 4 points up, but Effin will be reasonably happy with their work rate. They're only 4 points down. There's a strong window, but the absolute energy zappers there are working so hard there, and just making maybe an unforced error like Rory O'Connor did last time, or even Conor Carney, just giving away what I call a soft free here to Marty Farrell, who we know can strike a ball very well.
Yeah, Farrell watches it go. Has he nailed it? He absolutely has. Straight through and over the green spot here. It's wind assisted for sure, but nevertheless great strike and great accuracy to Addy second.
Yeah, it's the accuracy is the thing with the wind. You saw it there in the first game. Both Croke and Garsplan missed a lot with the wind because they couldn't judge the accuracy which way the wind was going. But again, it's a killer for Effin. As I said, it's a big blow when you give away a free so far back and it results in a score.
Yeah, they just want the ball on the ground really up here and see can they work something themselves. This ball is beneath our camera here. We're very, very tight to this one. Referee has said that the line ball is going in favour of Effin. Player just nudged out over the line. I'm sure these lads don't even need to get to know each other. I'm sure they know each other very, very well down the years at various different grades. And a line ball will be taken by the number 7. That's Sean Canning.
Yeah, and again, look, unfortunately, no support or else we don't want to see a game like that, but this is what Effin need to do. Put the ball out over the line, make it like a game of rugby, line out, slow it down, make it into rucks, don't give way to freeze, and that's what they're doing there in the last passage of play.
Yeah, Fergal O'Connor thought he was going to break onto it. Conor Kearney is there as well, but the Effin, or the Blackrock defence with the likes of Ian O'Brien in there, well, who'll have to put into this scrum is going to be the referee, I suppose, but slow game, and yeah, when you're only 5 down with that gale force breeze, that's the thing for Effin. Although we did see Croke struggled to at any stage get in front in the earlier game, so the wind is only worth so much as again we have a disruption, and again I see Conor Kearney getting to his feet. Decent crowd in for this one. And a busy weekend of semi-final action across Limerick. We also have the relegation final at this grade, which I'll bring you up to speed with in a few moments. There's a shot coming in from Sean O'Neill. Doesn't catch it well. It is nevertheless dangerous, but the opposite O'Neill, that's Ryan O'Neill, the goalkeeper. He does well, and he distributes it out to Killian O'Riordan. And it's now Ewan Dillon. Dillon operating in around the midfield, and Dillon sends it high. It's going to hang in the breeze. There's Conor Kearney, but it is the Blackrock, the Kilfinnan Patrick combination who do well to get it. Jimmy Quilty switches his hands mid-flow, does very well, pops it inside. They're going to work an opportunity here. Now it's Aidan Gilligan who's continued his run. Gilligan is upended by Nicky Quaid and just swept him off his feet illegally, so, and it's going to be a 20-metre free for Blackrock.
Yeah, look, worryingly from an Effin point of view, if Blackrock can work the ball through the hands against the wind like they just did there, they'll be well able to bring the ball out. That was unbelievable hands there. It was like something you'd associate with the All Blacks or something, soft hands. As you said, Jimmy Quilty changing hands there. It resulted in Nicky just overreaching, just give a swing again. Maybe I'm being a bit ambitious, but there could have been a goal chance on there if he got it. So it's very important to cut out them things. But look, at the moment, Blackrock are just, I feel they're slightly making the better decisions on the ball. I think the last ball, Effin hit in there, a big high ball stopping in there, and that's exactly what teams don't want. So forwards when the other teams don't want.
Yeah, so the free from Colm O'Keefe is probably the easiest of the three he's had so far, but the result is exactly the same. So 3 in a row now for the, as I said, Kilfinnan Patrick men as they move into a lead. They're going to want to add even more to that as this half wears on. We're into the final third of it, the last 10 minutes of this opening half. Free coming on halfway. I'm sure they'll happily take the free ball coming in. And there's no advantage coming. The 5-second rule is, of course, what Kieran Gannat correctly tries to apply. It doesn't come off, and there's going to be a free from midway, which I'm sure Marty Farrell will like. Yeah,
and again, maybe we're picking him out a lot in the first half. I think Marty Farrell is actually the one player killing Effin at the moment. He's really delivering good ball. He's winning. This is his second time winning the free. He's obviously got a long range free as well, and a point from play. But the one thing Effin are doing very well, I know this could be Blackrock's second point in a row in quick concession, but they are kind of not letting Blackrock get any momentum in terms of the scoreboard. They're slowing it up, and at the moment they're only averaging 8 points in 20 minutes with all, and it's still a wide ball. So they'll be very happy in that sense, where Blackrock haven't had massive momentum, a massive purple patch in terms of scoring and multiple points in a row, which is a big benefit. And if Effin can do that in the second half, I think that's what won the game of Gareth's plan today. Between the 10th and the 25th minute, they kind of hit a patch there where they got a load of scores in a row.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's puck out again, reaching the far 65 on this occasion as Killian Ahern gets on it, or I should say, yeah, Killian Ahern gets on it indeed. There's protest there aplenty. They're looking for a free. There's no hurley as boot and all has come off one of the Blackrock players. They've switched it through the middle. Here's Paddy Leahy. Has got the number 14, Conor Kearney, for company. Kearney does well to stand him up, and he's been judged to have thrown the ball as Paddy Leahy, but good defensive covering by Conor Kearney. He recognised the danger Leahy was going to possess with the switch ball, and got right in his space and didn't allow him the room.
Yeah, and that's exactly before the match. We're talking about leadership there. Conor Kearney, he's working his socks off there, just doing the unseen work there. Made a 20-yard dash there to stop Paddy, and Paddy Lee, actually, you could see it there even in his mind he was going to shoot, because he was nearly going to throw the ball up, and Conor Kearney just slipped in. So we see Nicky taking this one quick, smart play just to slow it up, nobody around him.
Yeah, works it back to the number 7, that's Canning. Popped inside nicely to Brian Clifford. Clifford does well inside that 45. Has he got it right? He hasn't. It's going to trickle to the right and wide, but probably a more sensible way of manoeuvring a free against this breeze, but the net result is a wide ball.
Yeah, again, Brian Clifford showing unbelievable hands there as well, but he's maybe my example of this, that Effin just their in product doing the wrong decision. The ball, he's after hitting 2 wides there and they barely hit the back net. Maybe better off running on, drawing a player, trying to win a free, letting off the man in better position, but both times he probably made the wrong decision with the ball.
Yeah, advantage coming for Effin as Pierce O'Kelly gets on it and he moves it on to Fergal O'Connor, and O'Connor strikes plenty behind that, but in fact it has. I thought the umpire was going to wave it wide, but O'Connor shows his class, shows his quality, and a very much welcome score for Effin.
Yeah, massive score for Effin. Great leadership against shown by Fergal O'Connor. Effin again working the ball well. You can't talk about the emphasis at that point. They haven't had a score in a long time, and it does give great momentum as we see number 7 there, Sean Canning, catching a great ball. And I think that all results from getting a free. It gives the team a bit of confidence to kick on again.
They work the ball out now to Aaron Moffat. A couple of short passes inside to Conor Carney. He has been very, very impressive so far, both in terms of on the ball and off it. Ball low into her, and he's lost it back there is Quilty, and he gives it to McCarthy. Men that of course have left represent the Limerick at senior level, and indeed some of the younger ages as well down the years. Balls up and contested 2-on-2 inside. There's now 3 Effin men back there against 2 from Blackrock, as the white jersey of Effin are going to come out with it. Fergal O'Connor just spills off his left hand as chance of a shot from Sean O'Neill, and O'Neill is adjudged to have thrown it, and Kieran Gannett is very consistent in terms of calling those. He hasn't shirked the opportunity to pull them. Everyone is protesting against him, but he's anything but consistent, or he's everything but consistent.
Again, we were giving all about Effin maybe giving away a soft free or two. Now Blackrock have to get caught for 2 throw balls, and again that's a killer because they're after working so hard to win the ball back there. Sean Neal, in fairness now, he just slipped, but it was deemed as a throw, and we see Effin launch another attack. But you could just see from the body language of the Effin players there, the last 2 stopping Rock up for throw balls is massive momentum change coming into the last maybe 7 or 8 minutes of this half.
Yeah, Johnny Murphy signals it's going to be a line ball for Blackrock. The autumnal sun greeting the supporters on the far side. Looks like everyone forgot their hats, but great to see sport in for these sides. The Gaelic rounds in 15 days' time is the destination that both these sides are aiming for. Ball cut long, and it's Paddy Leahy on it. 2 Effin men for company. Leahy, lovely block by Nicky Quaid. Could be a combination of his hand and his hurley. Stops him, scrambling for the ball, and picked up nicely by Fergal O'Connor. He hand passes it back to Canning. Canning back to O'Connor. Lovely first touch from O'Connor and into Quaid, and they're going to try and keep the ball low and keep it accurate, and that's exactly what they've done. Ewan Dillon from midway lofts it up. I think that's going to turn in lovely, and indeed it is. That is one of the team scores of the day. Ewan Dillon finishes it off. And very good pass by Nicky Quaid, and equally good work before that by Fergal O'Connor. Yeah, and look, I don't have to admit this, but I was thinking when he was throwing up the ball, what are you doing in that situation? I didn't think he had a hope. I didn't think, what an unbelievable strike out of Ewan Dillon. And that, the wind is kind of maybe making the sliotar to tail a bit left and right. That went straight between him. Unbelievable strike and hit with confidence. And what a ball by Nicky Quaid as well to see him. Yeah, Kieran Considine gets on it. Considine has knocked it over. There's protest from Robert Cagney, who actually ran into the referee, but in the end, Kieran Considine ended up with the space, and he knocks it over. A very swift reply. Yeah, and a great score, and you have to have a great response by Blackrock, and you have to say the last 2 scores is maybe how you are going to score in this kind of autumn weather, as you say, with the wind, is find a man there that's floating around the middle of the field and he can shoot from range, as we saw even with the wind and against the wind. Sean Canning does well. The overarm and pass is a legitimate one. He works it on to Killian O'Riordan. O'Riordan gives it along to Rory O'Connor. They work it back to the number 7. That is Sean Canning. He diagonally switches play, looking for Conor Carney. Carney does well. Hand passes it inside to Fergal O'Connor. O'Connor has a look at the post, knocks it in low though. Chance here for the number 13. Is it going to trickle in? It is. In fact, it's the number 15, Frankie Hare. And Fergal O'Connor could have taken his point, finds his number 15, and he tidies it up. And a huge moment in the game. Yeah, and most people wouldn't get the credit for this, but it was Conor Carney's Carney's catch that opened up the whole thing there. Fergal O'Connor, I would have maybe hit the ball over there. Great vision, see Frankie Hare. Frankie Hare showed great composure, and again, maybe should I say, against the run of play, as we see. Yeah, the reply is good from it's Paddy Leahy, the joint captain, and he does well to knock one over off his favoured left, and that's the reply. But a big moment, a goal against the breeze, and you know, it's a one-score game now all of a sudden.
No, a goal against the breeze is massive, especially the timing of it coming up there near half-time will give him a bit of a boost there, energy-wise, for the next 5 minutes just to work hard. But again, Blackrock have had 2 good responses there with Kieran Carney and Paddy Considine, and Paddy Leahy scores as we see advantage being played there.
Yeah, it's a foul by the number 10. That's Brian Clifford on, I think, Killian Ahern. So there's going to be a free from halfway and a chance for Blackrock to just reset themselves after conceding that goal. And I know they got the point a second ago, but just to take stock and maybe not allow that ball be worked through the lines as easy as it has been for the last few minutes.
No, absolutely. I think look, it's an obvious statement. I think the way you want to respond to a goal going against you, especially when you're playing with the wind, is to win a free or put the ball over the bar, exactly what Blackrock done. But I think Effin will be kicking themselves to give away another soft free after, as you said, the massive momentum of getting a goal. Often you can see teams that kick on with a point or two after the goal because we see that being hit.
Yeah, didn't lift it well. No, had to kind of reach for it. Did Colm O'Keefe. So first wide for him from a placed ball, and Effin will be breathing a sigh of relief. Is there a case in the second half for Patrick O'Donovan if he is some bit right? Because if Freeze from maybe anywhere in his own half, he's a deadly marksman. Obviously, we don't know the extent of his injury, but is there a case for him in the second half?
If it's a hamstring, no. It's as simple as that. Because I'd say if his hamstring was half hanging on, they'd have started him maybe. But look, you can play.
Real bother, yeah.
You can't play with a hamstring if it was a thumb or something and strap it up. But it's a different situation with a hamstring.
Yeah, as the ball worked out to Sean Canning. Canning just puts a bit too much air on it, and Frankie Hare has to go and race for a 50-50 ball. Here's Rory O'Shaughnessy. He does well. He's ended up on the ends up on the surface as they try and work it out. Fergal O'Connor, he's grown into this half as the game as the half has gone on. He knocks it into the corner, but just skips by Brian Clifford. And has it gone out over the line? Indeed it has. Jimmy Culty Senior Benitez.
But again, the way this game is going, I know we're not up to half time yet, but we're nearly there. It probably is only the way the game is being played at the moment, unless the second half completely changes. It is only a 3 or 4 point wind because it's been very competitive in the breakdown, in breaking ball. There's a lot of rucks, a lot of sideline balls, and we see Blackrock can play the ball through the line. So it's anyone's game to in the second half the way it is at the moment.
Yeah, the ball is cut beyond halfway. Everyone is scrambling to get under possession. I think it was just a bit of carelessness by Colm O'Keefe, over eager in fact for that breaking ball. He commits the foul on halfway.
Now this is an interesting one. As you said, Nicky's last free that he hit long, the wind just gushed up all when he was the ball.
It back at him, yeah.
It did, yeah, but the wind's after dying down here, and he definitely has the range on this one because the last one he hit was a bit over towards us here at the Charleville side of the field, but he definitely has the range.
He's in two minds as Fergal O'Connor makes a run for him, but Nicky Quaid, I think he scored 1 point in his inter-county career. Plenty though for Effin down the years, puts plenty on. That's going to be just outside the square. Again, Conor Carney is beneath it, but he doesn't get it. Richie McCarthy lifts it, and on his way out, he is it Marty O'Farrell? It is, sorry, Richie McCarthy's on. Yeah, it's Marty O'Farrell who lifts a different blue helmet, and he meets Conor Carney.
Yeah, again, Marty Farrell definitely felt that one. I think it was kind of a frontal shoulder to the front of his chest, so he's definitely slightly winded. And to be honest, I think Effin probably need to take a bit of wind out of his sails. He's after a really good first half. He's probably been Blackrock's best player. He's been really influential. Look, we see Marty Farrell just receiving a bit of attention there. And we're gone into the 30 minutes, so I haven't heard anything about injury time at the moment.
I did hear a slight reference to 3 minutes beneath us, but I don't know, is that someone with poor timing skills, but nothing from the officials anyway, so we'll have to wait and see. But as you can see there, the tricolour is blowing very, very strongly here in Fitzgerald Park in Kilmallock, but thankfully Farrell back to his feet, and Jimmy Quilty is going to deliver this one.
Even the way the forwards are set up here to the other side of the field, looks like this is just going to be a route one ball, and nothing at all wrong with it every time it goes in. As I said, Blackrock forwards working hard, and Effin finding it hard to bring the ball back out anyway. So
Quilty just puts a bit of angle on it. It's going to bounce inside that 20-metre line. There's Nicky Quaid, tries to pick it, does well though, and it does well does Mark Mullins, and they've worked it out to this near side, knocking it up in the middle. There's a contest again, and it's Shane Lyons who's there. Killian Ahern on the second ball for Blackrock. He just puts his right hand on it as it's on the grass, and another needless free, you'd feel, for Blackrock, as Nicky Quaid's going to walk up to this one, and we're gone beyond the first 80 seconds or so of extra time. So Another score here would certainly be the tonic for Effin as we head into half time.
Yeah, Killian Hearn was maybe expecting maybe free the other way, but it was great pressure out of Rory O'Connor there, and he definitely touched that ball on the ground. As we see, Nicky, he's definitely looking to maybe hit a shot, because the last one stayed in the air definitely for 2 seconds longer than it normally would, but he's going long again.
Yeah, he's going to hit it through. I think he's got it again. Indeed, he has.
I can't judge his.
Impossible for us, but certainly possible for Quaid. Brilliant stuff. I think he wanted a runner, and in the end he decided there was no need, and it's the final act of the first half, and it means it's just a 2-point game. 2 scores for Nicky Quaid, as well as that goal from Frankie Hare, makes it 1-5 to 10 points, and Effin, surely, Jim Bob, will be the happier of the two sides.
No, and you know what, from a psychological point of view, as stupid as it sounds, even that last free that Nicky got, it's the momentum going into the dressing room. It can often change the whole
they're
chat.
nearly bouncing in there.
Yeah, exactly. Nicky, they're jogging in, they're all kind of high-fiving each other, which can often be a bad thing as well, because it's only half-time, the game indoor, but it does give you a great lift inside at half-time, and I think the fact, as you say, the goal puts a very respective look on Effin's scoreline, 1-5 to 10 points, only 2 points down. So obviously Effin are going to be inside there now in the second half, saying the win doesn't win a game for anyone, but again, look, Blackrock will be very disappointing that they didn't kind of maybe get more momentum. I felt they had more possession. I think they actually worked the ball well at times, but they'd be disappointed that they didn't build momentum on the scoreboard. 10 points probably isn't a fair reflection with the amount of ball they had, but look, as you say, I think Effin will be the happier team at half-time.
Okay, well, we're just going to head for a break, but a reminder that tomorrow we'll have the third of the broadcasts that we're bringing you this weekend on Limerick GA TV in association with Stream Sport. It is the first of the White Box Properties Limerick Senior Hurling Championship semi-finals. 1:45 p.m. throw-in in Bruff. That is the meeting of na PIHC in Kilmallock. So do join us for that one tomorrow afternoon. But myself and James are just going to take a bit of a break. We'll be back after the first half highlights very shortly. The Limerick Premier Intermediate Hurling Championship semi-final, and immediately onto the ball is Jimmy Quilty, and Quilty has the first score, and they've worked it back, and they've lost it. There's a shot there. Is that going to go accurately over the bar? It is indeed. Just skims away from the midfielder. That's Killian O'Riordan. O'Riordan cuts back onto his left, and early piece of catching from Considine is Balamucky has a go. That's going to go very, very close. I think it has just tailed. In fact, it's just gone over.
One thing you would say is it's easier and put the pressure on when you have the win, but at the moment they are working harder. And
so great. He thought once, twice, 3 times about it. Decides eventually to send it high, send it direct, and send it over the field for his club. But Paddy Leahy breaks onto it here. Leahy, full length to the hurley. Has he matched it? Oh,
Farrell, who we know can strike a ball very well.
Yeah, Farrell watches it go. Has he nailed it? He absolutely has. Straight through. Keep the ball low and keep it accurate, and that's exactly what they've done. Ewan Dillon from midway lofts it up. I think that's going to turn in lovely, and indeed they work it back to the number 7. That is Sean Canny. He diagonally switches play, looking for Conor Carney. Carney does well. Hand passes it inside to Fergal O'Connor. O'Connor has a look at the post, knocks it in low though. Chance here for the number 13. Is it going to trickle in? It is.
Run a play, as we see.
Yeah, the reply is good from
reply,
it's Paddy Leahy.
For 2 seconds longer than it normally would, but he's going long again.
Yeah, he's going to hit it through. I think he's got it again. Indeed, he has.
I can't judge his.
Impossible for us. Fitzgerald Park in Kilmallock, where the sides, as you can see, re-emerging from the dressing room behind the goal to our left. The breeze has temporarily at least subsided, but the sides are raring to go for this second half. 2 points in it as Kieran Gannagh throws the ball in for this second half. It is immediately Fergal O'Connor getting on it, and first score here could be huge for Effin as they look to build on what was a strong finish to that opening half. That goal from Frankie Hare really helping close the gap, and a couple of points from Nicky Quaid as well as the ball sent dangerously across the square, broke down. Oh, brilliantly finished. Well, I mentioned Frankie Hare. He's in for a second. He followed the flight of that ball all the way and bats it to the net, Jim Bob. They're in the lead.
Yeah, maybe I'm being harsh on Pierce O'Kelly, but I think he was actually trying to put that ball over the bar. Richie McCarthy thought Dave Maloney had it. They were caught between two minds. Frankie Hare came in, batted the ball. Unbelievably placed ball, whether meant it or not, and Frankie Hare done very well to bat it down into the ground very much. Dave Maloney's only 2 yards away from very hard, and what a start from Effin. Again, managers go on about it the whole time, but winning the ball from the throw-in can create.
Can they add to it now? Just going across the face of goal and wide.
We see Jimmy Quilty doing it at the start of the game, and again Effin winning the throw in there. Again doing the right things with the ball, but again look, to state the obvious, an uphill battle now for Blackrock, and they need to counteract that there straight away. It's going to be a hard second half from now after that start for Effin.
They go short with the puck out. Here's Richie McCarthy bursting out through the tackle. 3 or 4 Effin men tried to stop him, gives it on to Jimmy Quilty. Quilty does well. They're going to have to work it through the lines, and they do very well to do so. Quilty just missing his strike there, though, as Effin converge on him. Here's the left wing back, Sean Canning. He's held his position very well as this contest has worn on. Ball is kicked out there. Back winning it is, I think it was Paddy Leahy. Indeed it is, and Leahy does well. Kicks it, lovely little kick pass into the runner, who's Sean O'Neill. And O'Neill shortening the grip ever so slightly. O'Neill has a go, but the wind has not brought it in enough. And it is the first wide up at the other end for Blackrock in this second half.
Yeah, again, the one positive for Blackrock in this second half, because it's been a disaster because of the goal, is they have the ability of breaking the tackle there. Richie McCarthy came out and broke the tackle there. We see Jimmy Quilty running through. And again, they're doing the right things with the ball as well. Great kick pass, as you said. No football in Blackrock is a lie there. Paddy Lee with a great kick pass, Sean O'Neill. But again, Sean O'Neill's finish will just tell you how hard it is going to be to score against this wind.
Jimmy Quilty doing very well, sweeping around that half-back line. Ball sent inside, breaks down now for O'Neill. O'Neill taking on his man. O'Neill puts it on to Hurley, tries to flick it towards goal, but just couldn't get enough purchase on it. And looks like Effin will breathe a sigh of relief. Ball going all the way tight to that corner. And has it just skipped out over line? No, it's not. Johnny Murphy having a close look there, the linesman. And it's going to be a 65. Probably one of the widest positions you can have a 65. It's going to be probably 70 metres, 78 or 80 metres even to the goal, but a chance for Blackrock, Jim Bob, to have a first, I suppose, clean strike at goal, because Sean O'Neill was under serious pressure there when he tried to have a flick at goal there. So
yeah, and interestingly enough as well, I thought I was waiting to see Marty Farrell coming over to it, and then I was waiting for Colin McKeith to come out because they were 2 free takers, but it looks like Paddy Lee, who was well able to strike a ball as well, he's going to hit the kind of long range to mid range ones in the second half, and look, a very accurate man with a place ball as well.
Yeah, Blackrock, last winners of this grade in 2019, a replay victory over Kildimo Pallaskenry. So that ended nearly 3 decades outside the top grade of Limerick hurling, as the ball switched play from that 65. Working it very close to goal to get their scores. Taking on his man, there's a free coming there. It was Fergal O'Connor who was adjudged to have held the runner, and O'Connor comes off a little bit worse for wear. Big hit there by him, and the two number 9s meeting. It was Aidan Gilligan who wins the free, and a big win there for Blackrock, and they're going to get an opportunity to tap over a free, you'd feel.
Yeah, again, it was quick thinking out of Paddy Lee. He there hit the ball across to Marty Farrell, made a run down the wing, but Brian Clifford done unbelievable lung busting run back the field to stop him. The ball broke kindly to Callan Inzer. Callan Inzer gave a great ball out. Look, it could have been deemed for charging as much as a free in, but look, it was deemed as a free in. And the point I'd like to make this moment is there's a reason why it's looking like this game is going to be a draw. Both teams are definitely level in terms of work rate, decision making on the ball, and maybe unforced error as well. So a draw game at the moment, and draw game, presuming Colin McKee puts his over, but it's handy enough free.
Yeah, just in the backdrop there, one Donny Ryan, TJ Ryan, and John Kiley watching this one with their Gary Spillane hats well and truly on, as the ball is going to be struck by Colin O'Keefe. And we do have a level game, so O'Keefe nails the free. And so that's the first reply to that goal from Frankie Hare. And anyone's game now as we enter the last 25 minutes. Let's see how long this puck out goes from the goalkeeper, David Maloney, beyond the 45, but it is the hooped yellow and blue jerseys of Blackrock who win it. Starting to move the ball nicely through those little channels as the ball is carried up. Killian Ahern does well. On his hurley, Nicky Quaid watches it all the way. There's no advantage coming. Nicky Quaid has broke his hurley in the process. But we're back for the free on the 65.
Yeah, I was going to compliment Ryan O'Neill there, the Effin goalie. He's taking his time with the puck out. Effin moved all up the field, but there seemed to be a lack of connection between the goalie and the Effin forwards, because that ball just broke, and it seemed Simon Hinsey was the first person onto it, and Blackrock had a loose man everywhere, so it was actually easy in that instance for them to move the ball up the field, and it created this free for Paddy Lee. So even though Effin are going deep and they're going to long puck out, they're going to have to get under the puck out to compete and win the ball.
So Leahy going to try and do what Nicky Quaid did. He does it perfectly, does it brilliantly. And that's why Leahy's on the freeze from that sort of range against this breeze. Is a smooth striker of the ball and puts Blackrock back in front.
Yeah, and I don't know, could you see it on the telly there watching the game, but the ball actually stood in the air as well, so just tell you the power he had to hit with it, and it's hard to get the action. So fabulous strike, 3 points in play, and a free for Paddy Lee. We see Effin win a free here.
Yeah, free on the other end. A bit of a wild pull, says Kieran Gannett. Kieran has only been refereeing for, I think, is it his 3rd season now, but already risen the ranks locally and at provincial level, so one of the younger referees as well.
The one thing I would say about Effin getting the goal and Blackrock responding very well in the whole lot, that free Blackrock giveaway there would me personally anyway, but I think a lot of people in the team, everyone has thoughts between the ball and between frees being taken, and everyone, there's something going through a person's head, and the one thing would be there is that's a super free to give away, and it can boost through the whole team, that disappointment about giving away a silly free. So Blackrock going to have to cut them out. This is obviously going to bring it back to a draw game. There's only 5 minutes gone in the second half, and Effin have a win, so they can't be giving away ridiculous frees like that.
So the free's going to be taken by the number 15, Frankie Hare, and I'm sure his confidence is up, Jimba, because he's obviously got those 2 goals. He's now added a free, so he ties us up again.
Yeah, he's been very elusive in there. He's been kind of moving in and out. He's been out in front of his men, so he's after a very good game so far, Frankie Hare.
Ball work back to Jimmy Quilty. Quilty gets beyond the 45. There's a man off his shoulder. That is Killian Ahern. Ahern is blocked down. Nicky Quaid seems to be marshalling that half back line very, very well. Sends it up to Conor Carney, and Carney has a go. And has he brought it in enough? He has. The umpires like it. Conor Carney likes it, and all his work in the first half has now been followed up by a wonderful score.
Yeah, I often argue the fact hurling football, whatever it is a block down, great work rate, or is a poor decision making the ball. But I can tell you one thing, that the speed in which Nicky got that ball in his hand, found Conor Carney up the field. Conor Carney's having a serious game, playing with an old head there, and an unbelievable strike. Maybe scored again the way he hit the ball over his shoulder, hard to hook or block. Again, decision making the ball and puts him a point ahead.
Yeah, lovely combination between the two of them as the shot comes in from Ewan Dillon, but Dillon was under a bit of pressure as he hit it, and it means that it goes to the left and wide.
Yeah, again, Aidan Gilligan there showing unbelievable work rate. It kind of goes unseen. Again, we kind of don't even talk about it, but that stopped the score, which is vital. So great work rate out of Aidan Gilligan there in midfield. Puck
out short and back to Dave Maloney. He sweeps it up to one of the runners. That is Killian Ensor, and he works it on to Quilty. Quilty stops as he strikes it. Has it come in beautifully? It sure has. Jimmy Quilty. Well, we know about him previously, the Limerick under-20s captain, and brilliantly splits the post from long range there. Yeah, and Jimmy, he's got strapping around his hamstring, I don't know, but he's moving really, really well here in the second half. He's the one man himself to bring that ball against the wind up the field, and again to compliment Callan Inzer there, unbelievable skill to draw 3 fellas in great hands, and Jimmy Quilty done very well to put the ball over the bar. Yeah, there's a chance down now at the other. Oh, lovely block there. It was Pierce O'Kelly who thought he could flick one over. O'Kelly has to have a couple of swipes to try and pick it up. He does well. He's halfway to Charleville. He's so far into the corner. He sweeps it across the field towards Ewan Dillon. Dillon does well, skips by his man, but the angle is too tight. Comes back to Fergal O'Connor, and O'Connor has knocked it over the bar. Good recycle from Dillon, and Fergal O'Connor shows that he's able to split the posts and puts them back in front. Yeah, I think Ewan Dillon was watching clips of Keane Lynch there, the way he flicked that ball back into the end. Unbelievable skill out of Ewan Dillon. He's had some really good moments in the game, and a great finish by Fergal O'Connor to make this game very interesting coming into the last 20 minutes of it. Jimmy Quilty has been eaten, but the ball eventually comes to Aidan Gilligan and knocks it through the sea of bodies. Aaron Moffat is back there for Effin. Moffat, full length strike, but is read by Callan Ensor, and they've worked it out now. Have Effin to Fergal O'Connor, heads up hurling from him, sends it in now, trying to return the favour to Ewan Dillon. Dillon inside that arc, advantage for Dillon. Dillon does well, hand passes it off. Is there a chance of a goal? There is, it's swept to the net. It's Pierce O'Kelly. The good work again in the assist by Ewan Dillon, and a third goal for Effin.
Yeah, you often wonder about looking the game, and what I mean by that in this instance, Aaron Moffat opened up the shoulders and went for a long range one, and it was hit or miss. If he's definitely going for a long range score, could have been wide, but it resulted in getting blocked. Nicky Quaid got the ball and showed great vision out to draw the man, and again great vision to get Ewan Dillon in 1-on-1. He'd done very well to sidestep Richie, had advantage anyway, and to show great composure to get the ball into Pierce O'Kelly. And again, when Blackrock are being ran at there in that instance, especially with the wind, they look wide open.
There's free coming there for a high challenge in the middle of the field, but suddenly daylight for Effin, 4 to the good, and they will really like what they've done at the start of the second half. 2 goals, they trailed, I suppose the most they trailed by was 6 points when it was 8 points to 2, but they've really come into their own since maybe around the 20-minute mark. As I see, Tommy Quaid, is the team captain, is now being deployed.
Frankie Hare gone off.
Yeah, Frankie Hare, 2-1 to his name. And so he's just making his way off behind the goal with a sub Benitez as well. That's the number 20 for Blackrock that's coming in. That is Shane Philpott. Just going to see who's making way here.
Conor Gilligan.
So Conor Gilligan, the number 15. So the 2 number 15s replaced. And an important free here for Paddy Leahy. We saw him knock one over from a similar distance not that long ago. This one does, tailing to the left, and it has escaped the clutches of everybody and has gone out for a wide ball.
Yeah, again, you just be thinking, and maybe it was wrong to be thinking, but with Richie McCarthy in full back, or in the full back line anyway, the goals would be hard to come by for Effin, but it was actually complete opposite, because Blackrock have actually got 13 scores on the board, and Effin obviously only have 11 actual scores, but it's the 3 goals. Obviously, goals winning games, and in fairness to the 3 goals, the 2 of them have been very, very well created. I know that Frankie Hare's one where he blocked in was maybe opportunist.
Yeah, Rory O'Shaughnessy on that 45. It is just going to go to the right and wide.
Yeah, I just think this moment of the game now, with maybe 15-18 minutes to go, the game, both teams kind of losing a bit of momentum. The next score is going to be massive. If Effin get it, there's a bit of breathing space there. If Blackrock get it, they're giving them a bit of hope, and they're still in the game.
Ball carried up through the middle by Ian O'Brien. He did well initially, but he's met by the opposite number 6, one Nicholas Quaid. Quaid skips through the challenge, and he's tripped in doing so, and is a free on halfway, and the perfect opportunity for another point to be scored by Effin.
Yeah, and what I was saying about Marty Farrell killing Effin in the first half in terms of his decision making and his distribution of the ball. Nicky's destroying Blackrock in the second half in a different way. His decision making on the ball and his tackling have been immense. He's really starting to come in and dominate the game at number 6, which you want your number 6 to do, winning frees and just relieving the pressure off Effin. So I think somebody's going to have to maybe get tighter to Nicky if they want to, Blackrock want to get the ball up the field.
So Tommy Quaid, as I said, team captain, not selected to start, so gets his first involvement here since coming on with the free from the middle of the pitch. Has he kept it inside that right hand post? He has indeed. And every white flag, every score at this end is a nail in the coffin of Blackrock, so they're going to need to come up with something special, you feel, now against this stiff breeze here in Kilmallock.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's a very hard thing to do, just come on cold. I can't even take a free when I'm warm. The mind cold like that, so an unbelievable strike out of Tommy Quaid there. I suppose it is a bit easier when you're a couple of points up, but great strike straight between the posts, you said, and what a way to start and get your confidence up as well for Tommy Quaid. Yeah,
there's an injury there to a Blackrock man, but Jim Bob, you weren't, it wasn't free taking that we were, that defined your career, was it? So
it might have defined me not being on anymore, maybe, yeah, but I know, look, it is, I can't remember who was taking the frees for Effin in the first half. It was kind of Nicky Quaid, but they didn't actually have a close in one. I said Frankie Hare must have been the free taker, as we see Liam Welch coming on here. But as I said, I'm always talking about momentum and psychology of sport there. It is very easy for somebody to stand over a free when your team is winning, when they're winning breaking ball. All them things come into play when a free taker standing over, because you often see a free taker hitting the balls very well when the team is going well.
Yeah, so the number 30 is in, and that is Liam Welch. Liam Welch is, I think, is maybe more affectionately known. previously of Kilmallock, if I'm not mistaken. So listed on the programme as the number 16 subkeeper, but certainly coming on with the outfield jersey on. You'll know the picture extremely well as he comes in place of the injured party here.
Ian O'Brien.
Yeah, the Ian O'Brien, the number 6. So his day is done, it would appear, with exactly 15 minutes left to go. As there's a free there coming, is a heavy challenge by Pearse O'Kelly, the scorer of that third goal, and gives Jimmy Quilty and company an opportunity to
yeah, we can just hear Jimmy Quilty down here in front of us getting a bit excited, and I can nearly see why that. Even though Blackrock have the free going in here in sport, a lot of things can happen straight down. Nicky Quaid's going to catch this.
Yeah.
Again, Nicky Quaid even catching that ball, all the momentum, all the energy on the field is coming from an Effin point of view, and Blackrock just to look a little bit dead. They're going around with their head down at the moment, and I think that's why Jimmy Quilty's starting to shout a bit, because he knows they're under a lot of pressure actually momentum wise here at the moment.
Yeah, not for the first time. The ball has gone in, Nicky Quaid catches it, and then he finds the man with the long socks, or the socks pulled up, Conor Carney. He wins the race and something happens from there.
Yeah,
so
he's finding Conor.
It's a simple formula, but it's working.
I think he's finding Conor a lot, because Conor has the ability when the ball's up there in the field to be moving off, maybe sensing what's going to happen, and it's not hard at the moment to sense that Nicky's going to win the ball, because everything that comes in around him is winning. But why Effin are going so well here in the second half is Nicky's ability to get the head up and find the right pass every time, or else win a free. And we see Tommy Quaid taking his second free and just on the pitch.
Yeah. About 7 or 8 metres further back from the previs one, but it comes off the post. It breaks inside Pearse O'Kelly. It's blocked. It's going to go for a 65. Well, that could have been game, set, and the match if that had been hit to the net. But a good block by the Effin or the Blackrock defender. Not sure who gets the credit. I think it's the number 2. In fact, it might be Simon Hennessy who got the final touch. So possibly preventing a 4th goal.
But again, I was on about the rub of the green, and sometimes there is a bit of luck. Some days in hurling, especially, the ball can break away and that. And to be fair to Blackrock, they didn't get much luck there. The ball hit the post. There was 3 Blackrock defenders there. There was some bit away, and it broke straight to Pearse Kelly. But they done well to stop a goal, because I think obviously if that went in, it would have been curtains. Yeah. So Tommy now taking his second attempt.
Yeah, second bite at the cherry. This is a 65 from Quaid. Makes absolutely no mistake, and Quaid knocks over his second, and they're moving them to the 19-point mark. 3 goals and 10 as we have a sub coming for Blackrock. That's Rory O'Shaughnessy, great servant down the years, and he is coming in place of Aidan Gilligan. So a bit of a reshuffle. I think Sean O'Neill has gone out to midfield looking for a bit more energy and a bit more legs at midfield as the puck out short. Simon Hennessy does well. Tommy Quaid though does extremely well to disrupt, and this large ball breaks inside, and it's the number 21 Rory O'Connor. O'Connor breaking down a goal. He has chance. O'Connor back of the net. The turnover is good. O'Connor races through, and Jim Bob, it's going to be a long way back for Blackrock from here.
Yeah, no, look, at the very minute Effin got it back to a draw in the first minute of the second half with a win, it was always going to be extremely hard. They needed a lot of things going their way, and unfortunately it's gone the other way from. But what a flick there by Pearse O'Kelly. He actually created, I know Roy O'Connor had a lot to do, but it was him that created that goal scoring opportunity just with one flick. And look, as we said, if they got the goal a while ago, but even before that, we did say Blackrock body language. They've 2-man full forward line inside there now. Colin McKeith and Roy O'Shaughnessy. They haven't got a ball in there in the last 5-6 minutes, mainly because they can't get the ball past Nicky Quaid. He's just starting to sit back there. And look, I suppose Effin's tactics are working, and Nicky is dominating the game, and Blackrock are finding it hard to break them tackles that they were doing in the first 5 minutes, second half, and it's all Effin at the moment. And at the moment, it's looking like the county final is going to be 1 and 2, and we were saying that positions in the table didn't matter.
What do we know, eh? As O'Shaughnessy's punishment, if you like, for scoring a goal is he's been replaced. So he's been replaced by Enda Kelly, who wears number 19. So 3 of the 4 goals that Effin have scored have been scored by players who have now been replaced. So they've done their bit though, and it looks to be more than enough to bring him to a county final. As Quaid goes for it, has he kept it inside the post? Indeed he has. And a long way back now from Blackrock.
Yeah, look, I'd probably be known as a sour loser in my time as well, but the worst thing you can do is, like, you have to take your beating. If you lose, you lose, but the worst thing is underperforming. I think Blackrock would be very disappointed that they're just not performing here, and I think that's a great example. Richie threw the ball up and caught it there.
Caught in 2 minds, I'd say.
Yeah, so look, it's just Murphy's Law at the moment. What Yeah, what can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah, so the final 10 minutes, I think Richie McCarthy's time at full back today has come to an end. When I see that switch, he's gone into full forward is what I mean, but I do think of the huge comeback they made against Drummond-Lacca in the final of this grade a couple of years ago. They got back to level, and then I think it was Adrian Breen of Drummond-Lacca came up with the final puck of the game to win it, but Blackrock are going to need to something like that, if not something even greater in the next 10 minutes as Quaid takes his time over another one. That's dangerous. Blocked by the goalkeeper. He did well there, did Dave Maloney. It was a very testing one, and wisely, I think, put the stick to it as the ball is in the hand of Marty Farrell, and Farrell puts it on the stick, carrying out, gets his head up, has to go short, and there's a foul there on the 45, so going to be an opportunity for Blackrock. They're going to have to play 100 miles an hour really for the next few minutes, and they're going to need a green flag or two at the other end as they angle it in there. 10 points in arrears. This is one of the subs that's Rory O'Shaughnessy. Can't get her it, and instead a white jersey of Effin will come up with it. That was Aaron Moffat. As ball, again, it seems to just break nicely for Effin more than often than not. Ball up there to Conor Kearney. He has been exceptional in so many facets of his game. Unfortunately for him, though, hand pass doesn't go well. Ball on the surface to Quaid. Here is Kearney. Kearney breaks through one and then two challenges, is tripped in doing so. And it's going to be another free for Effin.
Yeah, look, Effin's half back line well on top, and the full back line there. Mark Mullen's done really well to come out with the ball there, but as you say, it's the Effin forwards that are making the back's life easy. They're putting pressure on everything. They're working hard. Conor Kearney there is down on his hands, and he's got his hands and his knees there. He's wrecked from the amount of work rate that he's done in this half. And again, when the ball goes back up to the forwards, they're very clever at holding it up, very clever at winning frees, slowing up the game. Tommy Quaid, most of Effin scores actually coming from frees now. They're clever, just getting into them rucks, kicking the ball out to the man that's loose, and resulting in Blackrock maybe giving away a foul. But again, I do think Blackrock's mentality towards, like, they're giving away lazy frees and the whole lot. I think mentally they're kind of gone out of this game, going by what we can see in terms of giving away the frees and their body language at the moment on the field.
Quaid is going to knock over another one. So the gap comes out even more as the puck out goes long towards Colm O'Keefe. Can't win it though in Sean Canning. He's been one of the leading lights for Effin as he knocks it on to Brian Clifford. Clifford has a go, but he's off target in doing so. It looks to me that Jim Bob is going to be 6 wins in a row in the competition, which is no mean feat for Effin. They drew the last area in Croke Kilfinney in round 1, draw in round 2, and 5 wins to conclude the group stage. And looks to me the 6th one is just around the corner. That is huge momentum as they head towards the final.
Yeah, it's a good point. They've probably been bashing maybe Blackrock's body language and all that in the field, not giving Effin enough credit. They're definitely the farm team, as you say. They've been going well for a while now. They topped the group, and they look to be in a really, really good place. They look well set up. They look like they knew they were at with the wind and against the wind here.
Sean O'Neill is on it, has to try and escape the clutches of Tommy Quaid. O'Neill does well, sends it across that square, and Richie McCarthy is going to be beneath it, batted away by one of the Effin men as the ball comes inside. Oh, again, there's another block in there. Effin certainly want to go to this county final tooth and nail. They're fighting for every ball. Ball swept away in a huge roar from those who are here in supporting Effin. And the ball is going to stay in play on that far side. Ball work back to goalkeeper Dave Maloney. Maloney does well, hand passes it off. Gets a bit of a challenge after the ball. Nothing doing, says the referee. Ball carried out. Look at the work rate from Conor Kearney. He'd be forgiven for maybe giving up there in the last cause as ball carried up. Sean O'Neill does well. O'Neill hand passes it off to Colm O'Keefe. O'Keefe back to O'Neill. There's a foul incoming there from Nicky Quaid. And Nicky Quaid now is going to get his name into the referee's notebook. And again, we don't like to praise it, but a sensible foul, can we put it that way, from Mr. Quaid at centre back there.
Yeah, he's getting the yellow card now, and how lucky he was not to get it there in the first one, which could have been in the first half. But again, look, Effin, it's kind of the thing seen maybe off screen there. Blackrock are doing very well to work the ball up the field, but it's very easy for him because Effin are filtering back. They know they need goals, and Nicky's kind of sitting in the pocket, and he's able to give away frees, which results in this, and they still have men on the line.
Paddy Lee goes for it, buries it.
What a strike.
Huge power in it. And there is hope. It is faint hope, but there is hope as Leahy dispatches it to the back of the net. And maybe the mentions of that Drone Alaka game has sprung them into life.
Yeah, and we didn't even mention the psychology that like most time,
you're facing one goalie.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, and most of the time everyone stays behind the goalie. That way, that one, Nicky came out in front of Ryan O'Neill, and hard to beat Nicky, but there was a bit of dip on it and everything. Great strike out of Paddy Lee.
Yeah, huge power. It was past the defenders on the line in the blink of an eye. I suppose it is handy for Effin to have an all-star goalkeeper, but nothing he could do about it on that occasion. Alongside Ryan O'Neill, the actual goalkeeper here this afternoon. Ball is with Marty Farrell. Maybe a little bit of energy. Richie McCarthy is going to be beneath it. McCarthy slides in for that ball. Hand passes it across. Leahy has a go. Is he blocked in doing so? It is flashed wide as Nicky Quaid breaks a hurley. Well, you were talking about body language. There's certainly a newfound body language from Blackrock with that goal. They haven't given up the ghost. It's a long, long way back, 8 points, but credit to them. They're throwing the kitchen sink now at Effin.
Yeah, as I said, there's nothing worse. Look, these lads have trained all year. They trained to be in this position, the semi-final. They all want to win the county. There's 5 minutes left. They're not going to give up. They know they've underperformed. But again, Effin are really, really well tactically set up there. You see Paddy Lee trying to take a shot. There was 3 of them around him. It wasn't going to go on target him. But it's very hard to get a shot off with so many. And Effin are just filtering men back. They're happy to just let this game peter out and not concede another goal.
So ball breaks towards the middle. Oh, lovely little jink from the number 9, Fergal O'Connor, and he turns it in beautifully. It's another point for them. Different colour helmet, I think it is. That was Fergal O'Connor, isn't it? Yeah, he's changed his helmet, but knocks it over.
Yeah, look, Fergal O'Connor, a Limerick panellist, and people often say what's the difference between a very good club player and maybe an inter-county player. You see it there. It's the agility, balance, coordination, the feet, the sidestep, and the ability to strike and whisk that ball in. It was a great score. He's after putting in a amount of work as well, Fergal O'Connor, and a fantastic score. And he was kind of doing a Premier League celebration there with the one hand up in the air as well, I see.
But it's put 9 points between the sides. Ball in around that square. Richie McCarthy causing a bit of havoc in there. Nicky Quaid, time and again coming out with it. And while he's not cleared his lines fully, they'll be happy enough that the danger is averted momentarily. O'Shaughnessy is going to be onto it here. O'Shaughnessy puts it on the hurley, puts it on the breaks now, and sends it back. Is there a chance of a score from here? It's Quilty jinking one way, another, loses his hurley. Leahy one-handed, flashes to the left and wide. Brilliant bit of skill, brilliant bit of improvisation. Didn't have time to put his hand on the hurley with the second hand. It was like a tennis shot almost, but just whistles past the post. And very unlucky from Lee. He could have had 3 goals in the last few minutes, but unfortunately he only has 1.
Yeah, and it was great thinking. He knew there was so many Effin bodies back that he had to hit a quick, great improvisation to hit it with one hand. No, I wasn't expecting it. Sometimes you can see things happen before, but I wasn't expecting that. I don't think Ryan O'Neill inside in goal was either, but it's just a pity from a Blackrock point of view that maybe after Effin getting that goal early, that they didn't put this kick on straight away after, because look, they're kind of leaving it too late. I know Effin are kind of happy to let him come up the field a bit, but they are showing great resolve, I suppose, near the end of the game to try and come back into it, but it's probably looked too late, to be honest. 9 points with maybe 5 minutes left, so look, I suppose that's why we like sport. Anything can happen, but they are finding it hard to get the ball up the field.
Yeah, Mike Ray has come in wearing number 17 for Effin, and he's replaced Sean Canning, who I thought had a reasonable, if not more than reasonable, outing for him, as that ball up with Conor Carney. Carney, that would have been something to match his performance from earlier in the game, but unfortunately for him it goes wide.
Yeah, and maybe I'm a bit early saying it, but you know, in soccer or something, they say that's nearly as good as a score, and I think that's what Conor Carney was thinking there, just hit the ball and get set up in the backs again. They've really showed great experience in the second half to be structurally set up right. Colin
O'Keefe sends it into the full forward, his body's blown on over the floor. Paddy Leahy tries to get his shot off, ball still scrambled in there, it's out for a 65. There's a bit of jostling going on after the ball between Leahy and O'Neill, the goalkeeper, and the umpire now has got a brush from something along the way.
Yeah, I think he's just calling a 65.
Yeah, that's all it is, yeah.
But I think Paddy Lee's kind of given out to the ref, because they were claiming a penalty, but he kept being held, and no, he's gone. I thought the ref was going to do so. I thought he was going to put the 2 hands out there on a penalty, but no, he's calling for 65. And look, you would imagine this is going to be lobbed in, and to be honest, the only way you can score on this is if it gets doubled on or it gets a flick. But you'd often wonder, as a team, maybe better off picking off somebody there around the D, because Effin are going to be well set up here on the back again. You see Nicky is on the line spare.
Yeah, Nicky Quaid, I think one of the main facets of his game is the ability to pull the ball out of the sky. Ball from Marty Farrell dangerously in around the side. And Quaid comes up with it again, left hand up, sweeps it out over the stand here. Huge roars from the Effin faithful over there. But I always think of it when I see Nicky Quaid in goals for Limerick. He's so good under that high ball, isn't he? You can't even think of a time really when he's dropped
Tom, it could be the last time you see him in goal for Limerick. He could be sent back the way he's going at the moment, because he's been absolutely immense here in the second half. It goes without saying. But again, look, Blackrock will be very disappointed as well. They've played Effin a lot of times. They know not to hit the ball into that six boxer. He was loose there. We said it before the ball went in. They kind of played the ball down the throat to him as well, which probably wasn't the right, well, definitely not the right thing to do.
Sean O'Neill gets a yellow card for his foul on Tommy Quaid, and as we're at the discretion now of the referee with the 60 minutes done, as I see Ewan Dillon, Kieran Constantine making way for Blackrock as the ball goes wide at the other end.
Yeah, maybe I might be nitpicking here a bit or whatever, but I'm all about like momentum and psychology and all that. And Effin, I just want to be careful in the last 10 minutes. They've been a little bit sloppy in possession. I know they're trying to tactically come back, but just a few wides that to be disappointed with, maybe making the wrong decisions. And look, there's a county final. You have to be right for the whole 60 minutes. And I suppose they're great carrot and stick stuff for the management to be kind of saying to them when they're watching the video, lads, that we need to get these things right.
Yeah, it's true. It's Gary Spillane who await the Bouncers with a 1-point victory earlier this afternoon over Croke Kilfinney, and on another day that could have swung the way of the men from the west, but the result is going to be it's going to be a free in here, but the result is we're going to have a South Limerick derby, and it looks almost certain now at this point that it will be Effin against Gary Spillane. It will be the curtain raiser to the Limerick Senior Hurling Championship final in a couple of weeks' time at the TUS Gaelic Grounds.
And as we just see player down looking for receiving attention there. Like the one thing I would say, and obviously when we're commentating, we want to see great life in the game. Supporters want to see scores, and it excites everyone. But when Effin did get that second goal to go 4 or 5 points ahead, it's how they managed the game that has been really, really impressive. The one thing I would say in a county final, if Effin go 4 or 5 points up, they really have the experience to know how to put Nicky back there in the pocket. They're able to play the ball through the lines. They're able to win these kind of frees just to keep the scoreboard ticking over.
Even when bringing a player like Tommy Quaid on as well.
Yeah, and he really hitting the frees well. The experience, for coming in from the line. So in all the aspects, Effin have been really, really good and impressive today.
Yeah, that's for sure. As Quaid takes his time over another one. This from the 45. Angle, no problem. Accuracy, no problem. And a ripple of applause greets it as 10 points the margin. We're still playing here, nearly 2.5 minutes beyond the 60 as O'Neill knocks it in. But again, white jerseys everywhere. White jerseys coming up with it, and playing now with that freedom, I suppose, that a 10-point margin will give you. Ball swept up by Aaron Moffat, but puts way too much on it, and it goes to the right and wide. And
again, I go back to my point, when they did get their second goal, I think Aaron Moffat was going for a similar shot, and it went wide, and then Blackrock done really well to get the block, and it ended up being a goal.
Fergal O'Connor, a little bit off there, is just holding his head afterwards, but himself and Jimmy Quilty clashing ever so slightly as former inter-county under-20 teammates, as the ball goes short from the puck out. Marty Farrell, he is among a number who've kept the fight going for Blackrock, but it looks to be in vain, as a couple of men prone on the surface there, breaking through, and Nicky Quaid playing deeper and deeper now as the half wears on. Wins his free there, and his hands are just phenomenal, and I think time and time again he comes up with the goods, and I think it's you Jim Bob, you speak about psychology. I think it's, if you're alongside him, you just know what you're going to get. You just know exactly how he's going to play every day, and he's so consistent in that position for the 60 minutes. Yeah,
and the one thing as well, I suppose that we often talk about being a goalie and the skills you can bring to outfield. I think it's a great help, that hand-eye coordination, getting balls being hit at you all the time, that he's able to adjust to the wind maybe that bit easier. If a fella's hitting dips at him in the whole time, he used to deny the hell out of me a few times. I would be taking shots at him, he wouldn't even dive or make an effort, he'd just put out the hurley and make you look ridiculous. So his hand-eye coordination, his ability to read the game, all them things from being a goalie, he's brought him, and his composure around the square in the big games has really shown today. You could see it out here at club level. I could think of nothing worse in my life, Tom, than being under a dropping ball with a minute left inside in Croke Park, and he has done this, and a ball coming in, he's cool as a breeze. So
yeah, there is the full-time whistle, and it is Effin who are heading to the Lyons of Limerick Premier Intermediate Hurling Championship final. They have dispatched of Blackrock 4-14 to 1-13. 10-point margin in the end. And Jim Bob, I know we're probably leaning towards it there, but we also have our Mike O'Connell menswear man of the match here for this semi-final. Who have you gone with for this one?
Yeah, sure. I think it goes through our commentary. I suppose the one thing we would say is there's been a couple of brilliant performances. You were saying Conor Kearney maybe deserved it there as well. He had an unbelievable performance. But look, Pierce O'Kelly done unbelievable things. And look, as Marty Farrell done really well in the first half for Blackrock. But look, it goes. Look, sometimes it calls itself. Tom and Nicky Quaid is definitely today's man of the match without a doubt.
Okay, so Nicky Quaid gets the honour of being the Mike O'Connell menswear man of the match, and he's heading for the Gaelic rounds in a couple of weeks' time, alongside his neighbours, teammates, friends, and all that, as they are heading for a meeting with Gary Spillane. Jim Bob, thanks for your company. Thanks indeed to everyone here in Kilmallock GA for their assistance. But we're going to bring you the highlights, and we're going to try and catch a word from the winning camp momentarily. The Limerick Premier Intermediate Hurling Championship semi-final. Immediately onto the ball is Jimmy Quilty, and Quilty has the first goal, and they've worked it back, and they've lost it. There's a shot there. Is that going to go accurately over the bar? It is indeed. I just skims away from the midfielder. That's Killian O'Riordan. O'Riordan cuts back onto his left, and fairly decent catching from Consolina's Colm O'Keefe has a go. That's going to go very, very close. I think it has just tailed. In fact, it's just gone over.
The one thing you would say is it's easier and put the pressure on when you have the win, but at the moment they are working harder. And that's
so Nicky Quaid, he thought once, twice, three times about it, decides eventually to send it high, send it direct, and send it over the field for his club. But Paddy Leahy breaks onto it here. Leahy, full length to the hurley. Has he matched it? Oh,
Matt Farrell, who we know can strike a ball very well.
Farrell watches it go. Has he nailed it? He absolutely has. Straight through. Keep the ball low and keep it accurate, and that's exactly what they've done. Ewan Dillon from midway lofts it up. I think that's going to turn in lovely, and indeed they work it back to the number 7. That is Sean Canning. He diagonally switches play, looking for Conor Kearney. Kearney does well. Hand passes it inside to Fergal O'Connor. O'Connor has a look at the post, knocks it in low though. Chance here for the number 13. Is it going to trickle in? It is.
Run a play, as we see.
Yeah, the reply is good from it's Paddy Leahy.
For 2 seconds longer than the normally would, but he's going long again.
Yeah, he's going to hit it through. I think he's got it again. Indeed, he has.
I can't judge his
score here could be huge for Effin as they look to build on what was a strong finish to that opening half. That goal from Frankie Hare really helping close the gap, and a couple of points from Nicky Quaid as well, as the ball sent dangerously across the square, broke down. Oh, brilliant! Gary Spillane hats well and truly on as the ball is going to be struck by Colm. Going to try and do what Nicky Quaid did. He does it perfectly, does it brilliantly. Conor Kearney, and Kearney has a go. And has he brought it in enough? He has. The umpires like it. Conor Kearney it on to Quilty. Quilty stops as he strikes it. Has it come in beautifully? It sure has. Jimmy it on to Quilty. Quilty stops as he strikes it. Has it come in beautifully? It sure has. Jimmy. And O'Connor has knocked it over the bar. Good recycle from Dillon, and it out now. Have Effin to Fergal O'Connor. Heads up hurling from him. Sends it in now, trying to return the favour to Ewan Dillon. Dillon inside that arc. Advantage for Dillon. Dillon does well. Hand passes it off. Is there a chance of a goal? There is. It's swept to the net. It's to Fitzgerald Park here in Kilmallock. We're delighted to say that Nicky Quaid, the Effin centre back, and the Mike O'Connell menswear man of the match joined us. Nicky, there's your voucher from O'Connell menswear. The breeze seems to be unrelenting here this afternoon, but you used it to good effect in that second half, and I suppose once you got ahead, you made it very difficult for Blackrock to make any bit of a comeback.
Yeah, it is very breezy. I suppose we were probably more delighted at half time going in against the breeze, only 2 points down. A goal there that Frankie got in the first half was huge, and just, I suppose, not conceding a goal in the first half, we knew that the win was very difficult to score in the first half, and just going in 2 points down was a huge fill-up, and then to get a goal straight after half time. Like, having played against them in the first half, knew Blackrock was going to find it very hard to get scores. Like, so if we could, I suppose, minimise the goal threat from them, we would have been not that confident, but we felt that we had a great chance.
Yeah, we were just outside the 65 here. You got a couple of frees here that you scored in the first half. Now, sometimes the wind kind of comes in gusts, but I think you were looking at him a couple of times and said, what will I do with these? And you just decided eventually maybe the best option is to take them on. But it was that sort of breeze. You couldn't be sure what would happen when you hit the ball.
No, and like sometimes when you rise it up, it kind of blows back into your face. It was very hard to judge it. Won't I stop? To judge it. So look, to be honest, the first one I was trying to drop it in, it just went over the bar. So look, they went over the bar, was great, and I suppose they were important at the time just to get us off the mark and kind of stay in touch in that first half against the breeze.
Yeah, Paddy O'Donovan was a big absentee today, but I know that even your brother coming on hitting a few vital frees. I suppose it's important when a talisman like that is mitten that everyone else picks it up 3, 4, 5% where possible, and I think you did that today.
Yeah, we did, and look, like, there's no doubt Paddy's our best player by a country mile. Like, and without him we knew it was going to be a lot more difficult. We're definitely a better team with Paddy in the team, but I suppose he was kind of ruled out from early last week, and it was probably nearly, it suited us nearly better that we weren't kind of wait until close to the weekend. We kind of knew Paddy was out and everyone else just needed to step up now and kind of carry that bit more, and thankfully we got it over the line. Yeah,
it's 6 wins in a row. You started with a last to Crow Kilfinney, you drew in round 2, but 6 wins in a row. You must have great belief now and great faith in what you're doing.
Yeah, I suppose, look, we've a bit of momentum, and this championship there's so many matches in it. It's important to get momentum at the right time, and like, we faltered in the last three semi-finals, so today was a big one for us, like, to make sure that we could try and get over the line. We didn't care how we got over the line, just got over the line, and we were just delighted to be in the county final.
Yeah, one more hurdle that comes. It's the men over the road in Knocklong and surrounds Gary Spillane lying wait. So promises to be a huge occasion for South Limerick, huge occasion for both clubs as well, because I suppose we everyone wants to be at senior level, everyone wants to be involved in the biggest of these days, but it's a big occasion for any club to get to a county final.
Yeah, it is, of course. It's like, and like I said, this championship is so competitive. It's extremely hard to get to a county final, and so we're delighted to be there, and it's nice for these clubs, like I said, even to get into the Gaelic grounds and get a game in the Gaelic grounds. We don't get there too often, so it's a county final. It's a big day, but we're just going to be trying to go back to Tuesday night and treat it as another game, and try and make sure that we can get a performance out of ourselves and see where that takes us.
Yeah, very finally on you. I know you had an injury worry last year, so that's about 10 months ago, maybe even less. How's all with that with you? You seem to be moving quite well out there. You're impeccable under the high ball, if I do say so. But how's everything on that? Are you happy enough with where it's all at?
Yeah, all good, thankfully. Yeah, I came through it okay, and I've gone through all the matches okay, thankfully. So, fairness, the physios did brilliant work with me, and I suppose I was lucky that I didn't have any setbacks and things kind of just went smoothly for me. So, thankfully, I've got through the games, and one more game now, hopefully.
Yeah, okay. Well, Nicky Quaid is the Michael Collin Windsor man of the match. It's Tom Clancy signing off here. A reminder that tomorrow afternoon from 1:45 p.m. we'll have the first of the White Box Properties Limerick Senior Hurling Championship semi-finals. That is the meeting of Limerick PIHC and Kilmallock. Do join us then for that one.